Let's let it go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Good morning, top of the morning in sunny and cool LA. You're listening to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you live as we always do, but nothing but straight talk. That's how we do it around here. My co-hosts are the wonderful, the fabulous, the invisible man, your guy, Mr. Keith Swanson. People still texting me, still emailing me, still asking me, does Keith really exist? I'm kind of getting tired of that. I don't know what we're going to do. Doesn't he sound real, you guys? Doesn't he sound like he's really on the air with me? I don't get it. Keith, how you doing this morning?
I am doing good. I could have uploaded my consciousness to a machine. You never know.
Well, I tell you, everything's going to be machine and tech driven nowadays.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's going to be
so.
Quite interesting. I guess they have the robust delivering babies next. Wow, look out, you guys. Look out.
The machines are already there because a friend of mine, she's a genetic engineer, right? And I showed her because they were actually displaying basically a one for mice, basically a artificial womb for mice. It's actually a big spiral. It holds about maybe 12 baby mice. And they actually showed it. And I asked her, is this viable or is this real? And she went through the whole thing and actually showed it step by step. She actually knew what it was. So it is real. The thing is, it's there in various forms. It's just not socially acceptable right now. But it's there.
Ooh, this machine and tech gonna knock a lot of people out of money because there's a lot of money in labor and delivery.
Yes.
My other co-host is the wonderful, fabulous, the author. She helps people bring their dreams to reality and not dream all their life. I had a dream, she bring you to reality because a dream doesn't take you in a place. She's a real estate guru, you guys. She sell houses, she buy houses, she does everything you can do to houses. She probably have a cleaning crew, I don't know, knowing to one.
She does.
We call her our Valley girl, you guys. She's from the Valley. So good morning to one.
Good morning, Dr. Rosie. I was thinking about this cold weather. I said we were outside yesterday and it was raining. And I said, oh, my God, what are you doing out here in the rain? And they said, rain, it's misting. I know mist. They're from New Orleans. And I said, oh, no, this is what we call rain.
Yeah, I've been in New Orleans when it rains. Boy, there's no joke.
Oh, my God, they rain all the time.
You walking in New Orleans and the sun is shining and there's no rain in sight, and all of a sudden it just pours down. I remember that when my daughter was going to school there at Xavier. Well, you guys, this morning it's interesting. We having a continuation of what we started last week. As I told Keith, the Deborah show is busy. Somebody is. Every time we get into the meat of something really good, something that people need to know about, it's past time overdue for them to have learned about. Something always happens. It's never failed. But you know what? We're going to beat you devil at his own game. We said, okay, we coming back next week. Now, show us what you're working with. Now, you better not jump in here today. I'm not playing, I got something for you. And I'm not going to tell you what it is.
And we're just not going to step on those landmines again.
All right.
So avoid landmines this time.
All right. So, you guys, we have an awesome topic today, an economic outlook for Black folks all around the world. It's amazing seemingly that everything we basically focus on with black folk, it's interesting that it's happening to them in the same way all around the world. I've been trying to understand that. I said, now blacks in Africa should be doing something different, have a different mindset. But it's like every place you go where there's black folks, issues are the same. So our guest today is Mr. Karl Martin, you guys. I just love him. His insight, he's so great. It is like kids would say, he's deep. He's deep. He deals with stock trading. He's an expert, financial analyst. He lectures nationwide on financial matters. And we're just honored and blessed to have him with us today. None other than Mr. Karl Martin. Good morning, Mr. Martin.
Hey, greetings, everyone.
How are you today?
Real good. Real good.
Real good. Real good. Are you excited about what's happening around the world with black folk from an economic standpoint? Or are you saddened? Or are you in between, or you don't know what you think? You're just looking, trying to see how long?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Definitely excited because there is a lot of opportunity. But unfortunately, because of the fact that we're still continually on a treadmill of trying to, keep our frame of reference as European economies and Europeanism. Unfortunately, because of that, I am saddened because we have a world that's getting more and more, for lack of a better term, the playing field is getting more level across the world for every different race, culture, ethnicity, you name it. And when the playing field becomes level, basically it's hyper competitive. In other words, the world isn't an economic squid game. And that's kind of that's like putting it lightly. And unfortunately, the only folks that haven't realized that are black folk. We're still going with this ideology of, using others as a frame of reference or not necessarily looking at it as a hyper-competitive, and I'm just saying in general, there are pockets where individuals are saying, hey, I'm going to compete against this or that. But if you look at us overall, in terms of any metric that concerns controlling our destiny in all aspects, from finance to military to education to media to agriculture to international trade to technology, we still have some, we're still at a deficit in terms of competing with the rest of the world.
Okay, so you say we're still at a deficit. Would you say it's kind of the equalizing is coming as a result of technology? When the playing fields is leveling off, is that because of the people who have embraced and taken advantage of technology?
That, as well as the fact that they have become econo-ethnic protectionists, and that's something that I've been teaching for years. Econo-ethnic protectionism is just basically protect your money, protect your people. In its very simplest form, it's if you saw the last regime that was in office and their government, i.e. Donald Trump or whatever, they were hyper protectionist or Americanist, at least on the surface. The thing is others took that as a cue, but it's been building for a long time. If you saw what happened with their Brexit, when Britain and Europe decided to have a divorce, or if you see what's happening right now within Europe, whether it's France or whatnot, or if you saw what happened in the Philippines with Duterte, if you see what happened with Viktor Orban over in Hungary, if you see everyone else is becoming hyper protectionist because of the fact that technology has made it a lot easier for everyone to create their industries. It became easier for others to basically build their war chest for competition, economic and in every other metric in terms of competing against one another.
Wow. Well, it's quite interesting, So would you say, are you pessimistic or optimistic about the economy outlook for black folks in America? And if so, which country do you see as being more progressive from an economic standpoint as a whole versus USA?
In terms of pessimistic for black folks, when again, like what I mentioned before, you have the three different segments of what economies are. You have the economy, their economy, and your economy. Mm-hmm. And every other competitor embraces the fact that they embrace their own economy and how it works with other economies, as well as the quote-unquote overall, which is the economy. When you say how black folks work within the economy, I have to show some pessimism more than I show some optimism. There is some optimism there, but I have to show, again, it's all about it's all about how competitive we are against others. And here's what I mean. If you look at, especially now, in terms of all the things that everyone else does in terms of their, of what they bring to the table to go ahead, and whether it's revenue generation or investment or even productivity, I look at other races like whites, Hispanics, Asian, and everyone else, and I say, what did they bring to the table? Here's what I mean. They bring to the table things that the world wants, needs, can't do it out and ready to kill for. Look at the East Indians. They're controlling pretty much all the IT industry. The Southern Asians, medical industry. The Arabs, the energy industry. The Hispanics pretty much are going to have a lock in the entire food chains. You're looking at, other Asians, of course, technology. And, of course, whites are in the management sector and more into the security sector. The thing about black folks, what we manage, or at least what we occupy the most, is the thing that the world needs the least, and that's entertainment. And when you have a really like a tightening of an economy, or you have a more protectionist economy, folks are going to gravitate toward the things that they need, like food, shelter, security, medical care, international trade, and other things. And the last thing that's going to be of an importance is whether somebody can do a hip hop beat or something, or something they get on TikTok. Even though that's important for the psyche, but when it comes down to it, if we look at what happened during that quote unquote pandemic at the very first few months, folks are not fighting over Jordans like they were fighting over toilet paper. So, at our basis and human instinct and what we do, we're going to go toward necessities when all the chips fall. Now, in terms of which country that I see that would actually be more competitive, I have to not necessarily put it down to a country, but I have to put it down to regions in terms of bright spots. And this is where the optimism is. Those that are what they used to say the global South. And the only reason I say that is because a lot of times when we're looking at GDP, or gross domestic product and other things, we're using, again, a European frame of reference, European standardization. The world is now gravitating away from that mentality. And what I mean by that is, of course, dollars still reign supreme, but there are other metrics that actually determine the likelihood of a long-term survival for a society. And one of those is your demographic. Africa has the youngest population right now. That's fixing, they're definitely on the surge. Another 20, 30 years from now, if Africa embraces itself into a competitive faction, it has, even before 20 years, it could do it in 10 if they wanted, or if we wanted globally. The thing is we have to embrace that competitive, factor and really like hyper compete against others. The other regions are Southern Asia. Indonesia is literally knocking on the doorstep, fixing to eat China's lunch. And Australia, I was over in Australia, and the fear that they have in Australia and New Zealand of places like Indonesia and whatnot is astronomical. They're not as afraid of China as they are afraid of Indonesia. And I was over at the ASX Stock Exchange talking to traders and everyone else. They said that, China's old hat. They laugh at China. But Indonesia and other nations, because of the demographic and the fact that when you have a world that's accelerated as far as it has in terms of, you had like the agrarian age, you had industrial age, you had the data, the technology age, you have different ages. Those were pretty much sequential. Right now in the world, it's simultaneous. So a lot of these areas like Indonesia, the global quote unquote South, are going through all those ages, simultaneously with increasingly technological force, which means that it's going to be exponential how fast they grow. So that coupled with the young demographic, those are the areas that I see that are going to be a serious bright spot for the new, for lack of a better term, those that have a chance to win the Squid Game economically and otherwise.
Wow. Let me stop and give a telephone number. The number is 310-928-7733. 310-928-7733. Call in and give us your opinion, or you may have a question for Mr. Martin, who's heavily involved in stock, trading, training. He's an expert, financial analyst, and he lectures nationwide on financial matters. And financial matters seem to be on the top of people's hearts and on their list. I remember years ago when we would offer classes, Mr. Martin, in finance, you may have gotten 10 people to show up. You did relationships, you had 200. You did health, you had a few. But the table have turned now. People's interest is really a lot. Nutrition and health is on the top of people's list now. In finance, oh man, oh yeah, it's on. So that's why we're having this conversation today, taking a look at the economy of Black folks all over the globe. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that we can do to change this dynamic. I know Frederick Douglass had a writing that said that.
Carla, you have to mute your phone.
He said that if Black folks would unite on what they are all buying, what do we have in common? And those are the type of businesses that we go into. What are Black folks buying? What will they buy when they're at the bottom of their income? What are the necessity things? And we were talking about that the other day, and I talked about Karl in business. Concept 101, you're told to find a need and fill it. And I was explaining to the group that I had developed Business 101B, find a want and fill it. That is very important. I was doing that in relationship, Karl, to hair, with the hair business being a $10 billion annual industry and on its way to becoming a $500 billion industry, with 6 out of 10 Black women, now men and children, who are wearing hair. That isn't a need, but it is a want. Whatever commodity I think that Black folks feel like they have to have, I think that's where we need to be looking, because that's what they're going to buy. They're going to buy what they want. So what's your thoughts?
And some of that I could definitely say, I could see that is definitely something that is a reality, for lack of a better term. I'd like to see, and it's just something that I've seen quite a bit, is especially during this quote unquote pandemic. If our folks do not occupy the things that are our weaknesses, like entertainment, hair, things like that, are our strengths, because that's where we go out to shop. If we don't occupy our weaknesses and not just be myopic in terms of saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and internalize just our markets, internalize internalize our consumer base, internalize our investment base, and only deal with the self, it's going to be quite difficult for us to compete against the world. Here's what I mean. Like I said earlier about occupying entertainment, the more we occupy the so-called strengths, entertainment, churches, things that, of course, were there, we're still going to have to buy food from Mexicans who are taking over, Hispanics who are going to take over the food chain. We're still going to have to go to Asians who are going to take over from the medical chain to technology. In trading, we have a thing that we always say in investment is you manage your losses and your wins will take care of themselves. Even boxers in sports, they're always making sure that they have a good defense. They're managing their losses more than anything else because they know their strengths. Unfortunately, we as Black folk, we have a tendency to go ahead and gravitate just toward those things that I won't say just make us feel good, but the things that we know we're comfortable with. The uncomfortable things are the only things that will make us stronger. And when I mean that, when I say that, I'm talking everything from mining, engineering, from lumber, forestry, everything from like if you see those reality shows on Discovery and you're seeing the deadliest catch. That's an industry that's paying a gangload of cash, and that's an industry, of course. If we like to eat that good food down south, chances are these guys are the ones who brought it in. So unfortunately, we're still going to be dependent on someone else, and that's what I meant by the Squid Game mentality. Every other race is trying to be independent.
Okay, Karl, let me ask you this, and then I'll go to my other hosts, see if they have a question or comment. What do you see as the most promising industry in the U.S. today? If you had to do it all over, if you had to, I'm sure you would do just what you're already doing. I know that. But say for someone you're trying to look at for the future when they're looking at a type of income that's livable. Because I have looked at the mortuary science. I think that's not going to ever go out of business. I don't think we have enough people really looking at that, and we have too many shying away from medicine. And it's for a lot of reasons. There's so much prejudice in the medical field that it's unbelievable. It's not an easy thing it's not as easy for Black folks who are in it, but once they get into it, they will have put so much time in it, they go ahead and try to make a living out of it. But it's very difficult, very tough. One day I have one of our doctors on to talk about just how tough it is for Black physicians today. So those are the things that I looked at, the mortuary, the medical, and next is technology. I don't know what's left that people can make a decent living at.
I'd like to say it depends on what level that you want to make that living. You could say, I want to be either an employee or I want to be the one that owns the company. And I would like to say that hopefully we gravitate toward ownership and not necessarily just being managed, i.e. employment. The most promising that I'd say, and it's kind of hard because I look at, what I want to do is I look at things that are not cyclical. Things like the mortuary business that always are here. That's not a cyclical business because people always die. The other one that is not cyclical is supply chains. And when I say supply chains, I know that's ambiguous and it covers a whole vast number of things, but things always have to get from one step to the other. That's why Amazon made its own trucks. That's why Target is literally, has no problem with this, supply chain bottleneck right now because of the fact they've got their own their own managed, self-contained supply network, as well as Walmart trying to go ahead and buffer its thing up. But when I say supply chains, you have all kinds of industry within that, from freight brokering. You have, from the trucks to those that manage and maintain. I mean, there's so much that's involved. You have, airline, you have railroads, you have all the industries that are, that are ancillary to, like, everything from making clothes for conductors to actually, being able to work on a train, a ship, or whatever. So, and to have your company that specifically focuses on, certain aspects of a supply chain. That, because I don't see that as being cyclical. Cyclical things, of course, the technology is not necessarily cyclical. That is kind of ambiguous because you could say technology into what? You've got medical, you've got bioengineering, you've got all kinds of different technologies. It could be fad-based, no different than a Bitcoin ETF or blockchain-oriented, which is another emerging industry, which is definitely going to be, you might not be able to live on it right now, but it's going to definitely be the future. But I try to say, get into something that's not necessarily too cyclical.
Okay. Do you find people all across the globe, from a Black perspective, like looking at basis, what are some of the common career or business that you see Blacks in across the country?
Some are getting, across the world. Entertainment is definitely one of the most. And other things in terms of revenue generation that I've seen is, of course, spirituality, shall we say, churches and whatnot. I've also seen, I haven't seen, in terms of competing against others, in terms of biomedical, engineering, mining, agriculture. There is agriculture, especially on the continent, that they're definitely getting into. They're starting to get into refining and manufacturing the things that their agriculture, instead of sending it to Sweden and then getting chocolate back, or sending it to Belgium and then, sending your cocoa to Belgium and get the chocolate back. They're starting, it's an upstart industry, and that we're starting to manufacture the things that we used to export raw goods to. But I'd say one of the unfortunate things I've seen as of late is social media based, and I've done many lectures on that in terms of where revenue generation is. Okay. And I can say that could be an industry that's maybe part entertainment. And that's just what I've seen. There are, I'm sure there's other stuff out there, but in terms of us and the, who's got the edge in certain other industries, like I said, agriculture, medical, technology and stuff like that, I haven't seen us have the edge, because still they make phones and stuff in Korea. But when I said social media, I'm thinking in terms of Cash App, Patreon, Google Chats and whatnot. I've seen more revenue generation in the last 5 years from Black folks And unfortunately, those are still institutions and services that are not, or that are owned by non-Black.
Wow. Wow. Let me give the number out again. You can join our dialogue. I see that many of you are listening, but I guess you're just listening, and that's good. Sometimes we're giving this type of information out. You just want to hear the information versus asking the question. The number is 310-928-7733. 310-928-7733. Or you can email us at innerlightradio@yahoo.com. That's innerlightradio@yahoo.com. Keith, I need to hear from you and Shawana. What are you taking in from all of this?
I mean, he's pretty much on the money, and because what we headed into it with the fourth industrial is that.
Keith, hold 1 second. I'm gonna come back to you. I didn't realize we got a call holding. We don't want to hold too long. Caller, go ahead. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and what is your take. Caller.
Hi, it's Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
Hi, it's Barbara Gates. My take. I'm loving this information. I'm calling from Los Angeles. I'm curious as to what you think about the blockchain business, the cryptocurrency business. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you got a lot of noise in the background.
Okay, go ahead, Barbara.
Oh, she wants to ask about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
That's correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's a nascent industry. Think of Bitcoin and the whole industry of blockchain and digital assets as the internet like it was in 1992. And I remember it very well because I was doing websites when they, and I was on bulletin boards before there were even websites. And I was building, doing a lot of coding. The thing is I like the concept. More importantly, I like the underlying technology, blockchain. This is something that especially our youth might want to start embracing very soon. And when I say embracing, I'm not talking about, I'm going to buy Bitcoin and invest. Again, Bitcoin I'm not saying it is right now because it's trading at 63, K. The thing is it reminds me of Beanie Babies, mood rings, pet rocks, down jackets, CB radios, Cabbage Patch dolls. It's more of an instrument of desire and not an instrument. It's not a fungible instrument in terms of something, that right now I'm saying is something that has use, like Ethereum might have use. Again, it's still in its nascent stage.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
I was going to say China it's just converted its national currency over to blockchain earlier this year.
Yeah, blockchain is going to be. I mean, the things I've developed a lot of things for blockchain. A lot of things that have to do with like publishing, swap contracts, you name it. The blockchain is going to be so important because that's going to be your new internet. If it continues the way it is and governments and everyone starts to embrace it as a use factor, it's going to more than likely change the future in terms of commerce.
It's blockchain, right?
Yeah, blockchain is going to be your new accounting system for contracts, for money, stuff like that. And what China plans on doing is going to marry it with what they call a trusted AI. So basically, the reason that you have booms and busts in banking cycles is because people tend to have sticky fingers and steal, which is why we have these twin crises as far as money is concerned, because people get greedy and they steal. So what China and most of the bankers want to do is take the banking and money out of the hands of people and put it into artificial intelligence that can be a little bit more controlled. So that's why you're going to see things start to be converted to blockchain, like a lot of your contracts, shipping contracts from one point to another is actually done through blockchain. It's a big accounting system. It was actually designed for email, but the thing is, it actually works very well as a trusted accounting system for contracts, for money, for things like that. But that's probably just a brief example of what it is. Okay,
so it's just going to be the thing. Both of you agree that it's going to be the thing of the future.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the thing of a lot of stuff that you see as far as shipping contracts and money and stuff like that is actually done through blockchain now. In fact, it's actually happening now. They're actually converting a lot of stuff that we see to blockchain. Even your medical records and stuff like that are being converted to blockchain.
Okay, well, let me ask another question here. What do you think about companies that's dealing with Bitcoin and that type of a thing, but everything is offshore.
It actually.
Go
ahead,
sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah. Again, it's still in its early stage, and everyone's trying to find how they could adopt it for their use. And the good thing about blockchain is it works on what's called a trustless system. What I mean by trustless is you don't have a middleman and you don't have a counterparty that might default on you. You know, and that's the main thing that's been happening when you have a reserve currency that can be manipulated, which has been done, for decades.
Is that like
you need a trustless.
No, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's not. But what it is you have something. The Bitcoin is symbiotic with the network that it's on, which is called the blockchain. In order for the blockchain to run, it needs to mine Bitcoins. And it's a symbiotic relationship. But the good thing is because it's immutable, which means that you can't change it. Okay, you can't change. You can't go in and manipulate blocks. The good thing about this technology, and that's why I say that a lot of our young folks better start embracing the underlying technology and developing new types of services, new types of products, new types of things for this technology, not just think, I'm going to just buy some Bitcoin and invest and be a millionaire. That's silliness. The development of new technologies and embrace this and to create things that everyone needs, shipping, mining, publishing, whatever it is, on this system, which is trustless. And what I mean by trustless is you don't have to trust the guy. It's a ledger-based system, like Keith was saying. It's an accounting system, but it's so to where you cannot default on someone because of the fact that it is based on not trusting each other.
That's interesting. Okay.
I have just one more question with
Go
that.
ahead, Paul.
How do we change the thought process of, let's say, the people of color today with new technology? Technology is very difficult to communicate that it's a futuristic kind of concept, but you're trying to talk to somebody about it that is still stuck and get a good job, go to work 30 years, and have your income fixed for you for life.
Fixed, huh?
Yeah, that's going to change over time as the generations come up. And it actually starts in the schools. Most of your generation Z's and A's already embrace this kind of stuff because they've grown up with it.
It depends on what school they go into and what community they live in.
The thing is, especially now, they grow up with it because you're swimming in it. There's smartphones, tablets, all that kind of stuff. You're actually swimming in it, so they're growing up with it. Whereas, like Generation X and older, okay, we grew up with the old industrial model, so it's kind of hard for people that have grew up with one model to transition to another. The kids nowadays, they grew up with the gig economy. Okay, they grew up with kind of the gig lifestyle, which is basically, Carl knows what I mean by gig. It actually came from musicians. Basically, if you don't do a job, you don't eat. So you have to go to work or you have to get a gig. So they kind of grew up with this kind of gig kind of lifestyle. So it depends on who you talk to as far as tech and what age they are.
I think you're right, because a lot of young people now, I hear them talking about Robin Hood, and I'm investing here. And, my generation, we were trying to put our money in the bank. We wasn't, people wasn't talking about investing. They were talking about saving, talking about putting it in the bank and let it work for other people. Yeah. So I do see young people who are actually into stock and into trading. So that's a good sign. Yeah. Like you say, it's not because they learned it in school, it's just information around you. Yeah. And because they have embraced new technology and that kind of stuff, I guess that kind of goes along with it. I told you my niece, I guess she was about 13, wanted to know whether I was still on the Android. She thought something was wrong with me. You don't have an iPhone? I know you got an Android? Oh, Annie. I started to slap her.
Can I interject something?
I agree with you guys.
Go.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything
Carl.
you guys are saying.
Barbara, hold tight. You can ask another question.
Okay.
Go ahead. Barbara?
I wanted to ask you, can you speak to how much wealth in other populations, other classes pass through with life insurance that we as people of color don't believe in life insurance, but a lot of wealth has been transmitted from one generation to another generation via that particular instrument.
Interesting.
Well, most wealth is actually passed. Some wealth is actually passed through insurance, but most wealth is actually passed through home ownership. And black folks didn't really get into home ownership until after 1968. So, when we could actually get loans. So we're like 100 years behind most white folks. So, but most I do believe in Shawana can speak to this. I think most wealth is for most people actually passed through property rather than life insurance.
I appreciate that answer, but right now with the property value in California, all they're doing is selling it. So our generational wealth is going back to the original owner at this point.
Well, if you sell it, then you have to get cash for it, and the cash has to go somewhere.
Yeah, it can go into the hand of the closest white man got something to sell.
or hopefully it goes into 401ks, and they actually go and put it into a trust like down with Dr. Rosie. It gets put into a nice mutual fund for a trust.
But
Doctor.
But what I really do think, and I really appreciate that question, Barbara, because I believe, I would say for the average person who cannot afford real estate and whose income have been crushed down, because black folks lost a third of their wealth during 2008 through houses and 401ks and all that kind of stuff. So what I would say, my advice would be to black folk is to get you an insurance policy. That's the most reasonable thing that you can do. And you're not going to be losing money at it, because we lose too much money in the cemetery every year putting somebody away, I'm telling you. So I think that's something that needs to be a push across America for black folk to get some insurance. And they can get some because see, years ago, people was taught you just need to get term because you can invest your own money. Because I remember companies saying buy insurance, buy term and invest it different. Well, a lot of people came with the idea, I don't need you. I can invest my own. I don't want a whole life. I don't want a cash value because I can save it myself. But they never did it. They never did. And people who had those kind of policies had money in it. When they got ill, they could pull out or to put a down payment on their house or to send their child to school. It's easy to say that I can save my own money, but most people never get around to doing it. So if I had a horn to blow, I would go across America telling people you need to get some insurance. Back to my guest or whomever.
Could I interject?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Carl. Two things. The first thing, I work backwards. And when I say I work backwards, the second question Barbara asked about who transferring of wealth, and wealth could be an ambiguous term, and when I say wealth, I'm just not only talking money. One of the things, of course, is assets. Brother Keith brought it up very well in terms of real estate. There are all kinds of other assets that are out there, real estate, art, you name it. The other thing that is definitely transferable that they have is what I call royalty income. Okay, and that's something that's very important that a lot of our folks don't have in terms of transferring. When I say royalty income, I like this, the music. In terms,
somebody needs to mute. I think might be
okay.
Go ahead, drop the caller.
Caller, we ask all callers to please mute.
Go ahead, drop the caller.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess you guys
that's a hacker or what? Okay, he's gonna be hanging up on people that's on the call.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow.
It sounds like a hacker to me.
Yeah, makes me feel like I'm in like the movie Amadeus Mozart. I want to get a wig on, one of those Amadeus wigs on. Get a robe. Yeah. The other type of income that I was talking about is royalty income. And when I say royalty income, I'm talking about job, for instance. They've inherited jobs or inherited businesses, and it transferred from business to business to business, the nepotism or whatnot. And that's something, of course, the agent that sells his shop to the next one that's coming, the next generation. That's royalty income, as well as royalty income on products and other services that they've created that they've passed down through generations. And that's something that I noticed. One of the major reasons I say why is I was on tour with a major artist, okay, and it's something that's very important. There was a brothers that I work with, and that's a fairly good amount of money. Okay, these guys are definitely making 6-7 figures a year easy, like it's nothing. And I got there talking, we were all eating dinner, and I said, yeah, well, I'm setting up legacy for the next generation. And all these brothers said, man, I told my kids already, all of them said this, I told my kids already they ain't getting nothing. They're just going to have to figure it out for themselves, because I'm buying this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. And the thing is, it's not just a monetary thing. They don't even want to pass their talents down to the, so therefore the youth can go ahead, even if they're saying, I'm not giving you any money, I'm just going to pass my talents down. And I had some of that even in my own life, in terms of those that came before me that were, a day late and a dollar short and ended up penniless. And, it's just the unfortunate thing, but that royalty income, it actually, traverses more than just financial. It's a lot of things that we should be passing on, that they could get royalties that we've, accumulated for them, and then they could pass it on and pass it on. And that's one of the biggest frailties. The other question that Barbara had asked was about changing the mindset. One of the things about these youth, and I'm glad you brought up Robin Hood, Dr. Rosie, because Robin Hood is like a wheel, okay? And when I say not reinventing the wheel, you make a better vehicle, a better product. Robin Hood does what Robin Hood does, and it's making the guy that put Robin Hood together rich. It's more important for us to create new technologies that can either compete, outdo, make defunct all the Robin Hoods out there. And the reason I say that is one of the things that changed the mindset more than anything, and this pandemic worked wonders. Here's what I mean. It created, again, like Brother Keith was talking about, the gig economy. There's a lot of celebrities you guys know and that I've worked with, especially if you're into smooth jazz or whatever. I was on tour with these guys. They had to embrace an app called Cameo because they still need to try to remain relevant, because what this pandemic did is it changed the mindset to make sure that you had to find a way to go ahead and reinvent yourself. And a lot of these celebrities I'm working with, they're not, extolled as celebrities. They're not working, there's no tours. And a lot of folks had to change their mindset in terms of the things that are of necessity, trying to eat, trying to do other things. So that whole entertainment industry, even sports and the whole 9 yards, became a lot less priority for us. A lot of folks weren't focusing on, I've got to get this. If you saw their award shows, it was literally a joke. Whether it's their Grammys or their Oscars, it wasn't as important in people's lives. And the thing is changing that mindset, especially with the youth, is for us to change what they consume. A lot of folks were not consuming the aspect of this so-called celebrity environment, because, of course, TikTok, you could be your own celebrity. YouTube, you can be your own celebrity. So the focus was not on, okay, I have to put all my time and energy into this act or that act, because they're trying to do what they can to remain relevant. These celebrities I'm talking about earlier are on an app called Cameo just to try to remain relevant, okay? Like they could take pictures with somebody and send it as a postcard and get paid. So it actually leveled the playing field in terms of priorities. Well, before pandemic or before, what had happened, the priority was the status quo. Go to restaurants, go to bars, go to clubs, go to concerts, sports events, everything's about this celebrity. And the focus was not on productivity. The focus was not on reinvestment. The focus was not on education or reinventing to have new economies. After that happened, everybody's mindsets are now like, what do I do now? And those that were smart reinvented themselves.
Right. Carl, let me stop and take a call. We have a caller, 310. Caller, go ahead, give us your name.
My name is Jessie. The reason I'm calling, you mentioned purchasing insurance. And what I find is if you're younger, you can get insurance that's worth something. But as you get older, your insurance is limited as to what you can get, plus it is very high. So in that case, do you have a suggestion where you can, being older, you still can get reasonable insurance? An example, you might be able to get a $20,000 policy, and it's going to cost you probably like $149 or so.
I think, Carla, what you have to do is look at your purpose for buying insurance. When I used to sell insurance, I would always, when a person wanted to drop, I had to take them back to, why did you get this policy in the first place? Then that would determine whether they were going to keep it or not. See, a lot of people get insurance, many, just for, they say, I have enough money to bury me. I don't want anybody to have to come out of pocket for that. If that's what a person is looking for, and you're talking about at 60 or 65 paying $140 a month, for a 10 or 15, I've seen some of those policies, that doesn't make sense, that your money could be invested more wisely. But one good thing that I found recently, Keith, you guys should want to, this is going to be interesting, company that actually sell insurance. Well, it's not insurance. It's like a barrier plan, but it's $500 a year to have 7 people on that plan. It doesn't cover the grave site. It doesn't cover crypt, but it covers cremation and everything else to go along with the burial. So that's what people need to be looking at. What is your objective? Is it to have enough money to make sure you're buried, or is it to have enough money to leave? When I was talking about insurance, I was talking about policy with the life benefit, that if you become ill, catastrophic disease or whatever, that you could pull money from that policy for yourself, or a built-up cash value that you could have a down payment for your child to buy a home or to go to college. That's what I was talking about when I was talking about passing down a legacy, not just a basic policy to bury it. Because people that smart can pay for that and be done with it instead of giving somebody else the money every month. Did I answer your question?
I was looking at like your life policy. I know they have the term policies, but in regard to your life policies, one company I know, I'm constantly getting mail from them, and it is a life policy where you can cash it out or borrow against it. But like I said, it's only at maybe $20,000 with no exam, and you have this high price monthly to pay for it. So that's what I was looking at. And when I look at insurance, I look at the fact I want to have something for my children left for them, as well as having something for burial as well.
Okay, why don't you give me a call and we talk about that, okay? Let me give you my number, 323.
Dr. Rose? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, 323-750-3592. 323-750-3592.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Again.
Sure.
All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Okay, someone have something on the board. It said, why should we risk our health to go to a concert or basketball game during a pandemic?
He was talking about why a lot of the entertainers had to find other things to do during the pandemic because they couldn't make their money during their kind of gig economy at the time.
Got it.
That's okay. I think he was responding to that.
Okay, great. But it's smart to be able to change streams and, to what they said, to change lanes.
Yeah, sometimes you do it voluntarily. Sometimes you do it because you're forced to. And I think a lot of entertainers, like Carl was saying, had to be forced into a different mindset because that stream of income had dried up like abruptly. And I don't think they wanted to get caught like that again.
I think COVID brought. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say, Dr. Rosie. I was going to say the exact same thing.
COVID brought out a lot of creativity.
That COVID brought out is people getting out of that regular 9-to-5 job and thinking more of an entrepreneurship as opposed to working for someone. So I think that was really excellent that has come out of this, because I know so many people, like the gentleman was talking about Bitcoin and all the other things and investing. So many people that never really invested in the stock market or even played in the stock market. And like he said, we do have the children investing in the stock market. We have everybody investing. I mean, and people are really learning how to do it. They're not just doing it. They're actually learning the system, because you have to know how to buy. And the most thing that you really, really, really have to learn how to do, and a lot of us don't know how to do, is sell. You have to learn how to sell, because your prices will be high, and then you'll wait too long to sell, and then it drops back down to where you purchased that. So I think that this pandemic has created so many people that have become entrepreneurs, where they did the, they do the Zoom meetings, the webinars and different meetings. And you know what? They're able to hit global. They're utilizing Instagram. They're utilizing Facebook. They're utilizing all these sources. TikTok is making millionaire people really quick if you do it right and if you learn it right. So I think it's so much fun.
But the thing is what, and Karl can weigh in on this, because we're old school. And the biggest thing between COVID just kind of exposed these things. They've been there. The thing is, nobody really using them. The thing is that there's much less barriers to entry to markets and trading and stuff like that. When me and Karl started, man, you had to really know somebody. You had to spend a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time just to get access to these markets. Now with Robinhood and these kind of apps, anybody can do it. Okay, anybody can trade. Anybody can trade Bitcoin or stocks or currencies or whatever they want to trade just by picking up their phone. Okay, that 5 years ago that was impossible. So the technology that's coming in through the internet and access to markets, and not only just for buying stocks and trading and trading currencies like that, but also selling stuff, right? You can run commercials on YouTube, right? You can run commercials on Facebook. You can sell stuff in all kinds of places. Like say, TikTok is just another form of entertainment. Instead of going through the gatekeepers to get on TV or get on radio or something like that, you can just put it up yourself and get right to your customers or to your fans. So a lot of this stuff is basically erasing a whole lot of barriers.
It is.
What do you think? What do you think, Karl?
Oh, definitely. The playing field is level. More importantly is also, like learning, like you guys were saying about learning trading and whatnot. Even more important is developing new technologies, developing the next Robinhood, developing the next TikTok, develop whatever it is, because those that are on the cutting edge of development is what the world wants, needs, can't do it out and ready to kill for. And that's because, for instance, I'm never stopped learning. And what I mean by that is I've been, trying to develop algorithms. And these algorithms will be an app. And it'll be an app for something that maybe could be sold to, Jeff Bezos or whoever else. But the thing is constantly developing something that the world needs.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it was regular folks at home in their living room that took down with the GameStop stock, right? They took down how many companies did they take down? I mean, what do you call them? Funds, mutual funds. Did they take down? And with just that,
because they were short selling.
They were actually buying up the shorts. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you guys, this thing have really changed for a lot of people. And I want you all to write this down, because once you get off, I want you to go to this website. It's called MyTech, MYTECH, academy.net. Make sure you put .net. Out of COVID, what I have discovered, and Karl, I'm listening to you, and I was already ahead of some of these things. I've created a company called MyTech Academy. Most of the companies out there, they have videos up, they're teaching people, but I'm geared to a market that nobody have geared to. There are too many people that you put a video on trying to teach them something that's not the way they want to learn. We're going to have live classes, and I want you to go to it, because it is everything that you ever want to know. It is
this
everything
is
you
freaking
want.
amazing. Look at
Yes,
it.
you're looking at it.
It.
I know.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, because
I love it.
Dennis
Wow.
Kimball was saying, we running around talking about, I want to monetize. You better digitize. That's what you better do if you intend to make it in this economy. And so I put together something that nobody have done out there, because I found out that so many people don't know how to even just download something from their phone or to emails. It's just stuff that because we know just a little bit, we think other people on that same level. We getting ready to take this thing to a whole different level. So, like I said, COVID have waked up some juice in me that I didn't know was there. And there's so many other things that we have coming down the pipe. I have partnered with a person who's been in the cosmetology for 47 years. We're getting ready to set up our online wig shop. And black folks are making the wigs. We ain't playing about this economy out here.
I love it. I'll be a teacher. I'm in.
Okay. No, I'm serious.
In.
It's time to go where we have not gone before. So I'm not sitting on my butt.
Yes.
I'm so excited. I don't
Dr.
know what
Rosie,
to do.
you said that.
What is that site again, Dr. Rosie?
You've been having that in you
forever. My tech, MyTech Academy.net. Make sure you put .net. We're going to be teaching people how to jam on your PC, okay?
Yeah.
Everything you ever want to know. So send your friends to it. Everybody out there, send that to your friends.
Yeah, tell what we should do. This is what we should do. This is how we stick together. Everybody tell one of their friends, and tell one of their friends to tell one of their friends. And that's how it's going to spread. Everybody should tell one of their friends. Everybody that's listening on here should tell a friend, and tell that friend to tell a friend, and tell that friend to tell a friend. And we're going to spread the word globally.
But we can't make it not being technology. We can't make it if we drag our feet. Time is not on our side to catch up. It really isn't. We just slipped through the crack from English literacy, where our people dragging so far behind in writing skills and that kind of thing. Don't pass this technology up. Tell your grandmama, tell your mama. What that song say? Tell your mama, tell your pop. That was Ray Charles. You guys, I'm excited about this time. Yeah, that's what it was. I'm excited about these times. A lot of people who are depressed, and I'm looking at them, they go, well, why? I'm excited about these times that we're living in right now. Now, you all may think I'm crazy, but I am excited because I see the picture so big. But while you're sitting at home on lockdown, this was the time for you to start thinking. Start doing something you couldn't do before when you were on that man job from 8 to 5, come home, cleaning the house, feeding the kids, and taking care of the husband. You had time now to let your creative juices flow. And that's what I did.
Yes.
And don't be play hating, y'all, because don't be play hating. What?
Dr. Rosie, I just need to tell you, your creative juices have been flowing forever before the pandemic. People need to learn how to let their creative juices flow. And another thing I want to put out to everyone, get a little notepad. Get a notepad for your ideas, because so many of us have such great ideas that we don't even work on because we forget them just as fast as they come. If you have a good idea, write it down so that later on is there something here? Because there's something there. Just like he was saying, create the new things like your TikTok. No one thought that Facebook would ever have anything else other than Facebook. And then what happened? Instagram. No one ever thought anything would ever happen other than Facebook and Instagram. I don't know which one came first. Then Twitter, okay? The Tweety Bird. And now we have TikTok. So can you do another one? Possibly. Yeah. You can.
And you know what? Don't wait until you get the money to have dreams. Don't wait. When I come up with things, the money will come.
Yes. The money will come. Let me tell you, if you have $1 billion idea, Dr. Rosie, would you get in on it if I had $1 billion idea?
Yes, I would.
Anybody around there would get on it. So don't let money say, you know what, I don't have the money, so I can't do it. It doesn't matter. If you have the idea and you have something that's really good, people will back you. So write your ideas down. Get that little notebook and write your ideas down so that you can revisit those ideas. So if it's a money maker, you make it a moneymaker.
Exactly. And I'm going to have Karl to close it out, but I want to say this to all of my people out there, you guys. Don't think life is free. Go and get these classes. You go on, people trying to advertise their business on Facebook. How many people, they think everybody on Facebook is seeing it. Look, Facebook ain't no fool. If you really want to get to people, you got to pay for ads on Facebook. So we're going to teach you how to maximize Zoom and Facebook Live and how to look good doing it, how to make people want to be a part of what you're trying to. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Pay $1,000 for a wig and won't pay $50 for a seminar to put something in your head. Karl, if I can get this over to my people that life is not free, people who go ahead, I can't tell you the hours of money I have spent investing in personal development and seminars and going to like seminars that Tawana has and other people, Shawana. You guys, this is important. Karl, this is what's been the hardest thing that I've seen amongst our people is that like they're afraid to go and get more knowledge. Karl, it's so nice having you. Can you close this out? And the show is going to re-air at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Yeah, Eastern Standard. Karl, go ahead. You have really given us some powerful information. We thank you so much. And I've been missing you, Karl.
It's been a while. I got to thank you guys. That's first and foremost. I want to thank all you guys. Rosie, you summed up everything that when you gave out your service and the website, you summed up everything that I've been talking about. I mean, you put an exclamation point. Matter of fact, that was a mic drop. And what I mean by that is right now we're living in a world, especially post-pandemic, where everyone's becoming their own industry. It's not before where you have to go out and try to, have somebody else develop part of you and this person and develop part of you. Right now, everybody's so self-contained, even in what Brother Keith said earlier about gig economy. We're all trying to be our own president, for lack of a better term, our own record company, our own, CEOs. And what you have, that service right there, that website that you just gave is literally, in terms of self-development, that's what's a service that's needed. Like, that's why I say what's wanted, needed, can't do without and ready to kill for. When you have an entire society that's now wanting to be their own company, their own organization, their own company, their own world, there's nothing more important than having to get education for that, of how to go ahead and set that up, how to go ahead and use these services, the Facebooks, the TikTok, to set up, to have all the apparatus that you need to become that CEO of your own in life, of your own, your own era. And because of where the world is right now, I'd say whatever we can do, I don't care what age you are, start thinking in terms of becoming your own CEO of your life. Become your own CFO, your chief financial officer of your life. Become even your own employee of your life. Become your own promoter. Become your own manufacturer to manufacture your talents, your products, or whatever. Because that is where things are headed right now on a bullet train. And anyone that couldn't see that in the last year is going to definitely be forced to see it in the next. Anyways, I got to thank you guys again, and we'll talk again there.
Okay, Karl, we thank you so much. And you guys spread the word for those who are on these so-called good jobs and have a business that's going okay. You need multiple streams of income. Take that from me. You need multiple streams of income. I went through the 2008 bubble, real estate bubble. I went through I think it was 1995. And I never missed a stroke when everybody else was crying what we're going to do. I had other streams of income. So, folks, I'm telling you, my life, whatever I preach is what I do. And whatever I do has been working for me, and it'll work for you, too. Hello, somebody. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Dr. Rosie.
Thank you so much. Okay. So, same time next week, you guys spread the word. Everybody, text at mytechacademy.net. Make sure you put .net. Let's rock and roll. And look in there and see what classes that you want to be connected with. You guys have a great day. That's all I have to say.